Here are 10 tips and settings that you should know about your new Fuji X106 cameras. Number 1. ND filter. Did you know there's an inbuilt ND filter in this camera? Well, to turn it on, all you have to do is long hold the front dial 3 seconds and it'll automatically turn on the ND filter. Simple as that. And to turn it off, just long hold the dial 3 seconds again and it will automatically turn off. Now speaking of the front dial, your viewfinder is able to switch between optical and electronic. All you have to do is quick tap of the front dial and it will switch between two. Now pressing this control ring itself allows you to select from a range of preset settings. For example, your white balance, your film simulation, even your digital teleconverter. And depends on which setting that you choose, all you have to do is turn the ring to quickly access the submenus. So if my setting is set on film simulation, all I have to do is turn the ring and I'll quickly switch between all the film simulations in the camera. Number 4, couple of settings you want to change in your camera. First of all, go to setups, go to power management, and then choose performance and choose boost. You want to turn this up because it allows maximum efficiency of your camera, especially when you turn on settings like clarity that requires internal processing. Turning it on to boost makes the whole process a lot faster. And yes, it does drain a little bit more battery, but I think trade-off is worth it. The next setting that you want to change, which is also on the power management page, is the auto power off temperature. Make sure this is set to high, which allows the camera to continue shooting while it gets warm. Especially if you're in a hot climate, the weather is hot, sometimes this camera does get a little bit warm and it will automatically turn off unless you change the settings. The next setting that you want to change is Bluetooth. If you're like me, who does a lot of social media, who transfer photos from my camera to the phone all the time, you want to turn these settings up. So go to menu and go to Networks USB settings and then go to Bluetooth and go to the second page and click on frequency settings and make sure this is set on 5 GHz rather than 2.4. This will dramatically speed up your image transfer speeds. And if you're a first time Fujifilm user like me and you didn't know how to change the dials on the top, well, it's pretty simple. All you gotta do is pull it up and turn the aperture ring. You can push it back down and then you're adjusting the shutter. Now, although this is quite cool using tactile buttons, I found it much more easier just using the front and back dials. For me right now, the front is my shutter and my back dial is my ISO. By default, the front dial should be your ISO and the back dial is your shutter. I've switched this around, but it's each to your own preference. And then of course, you can adjust the aperture just using the lens itself. Now of course, if you want to switch around and customize the buttons, all you have to do is hold the button at the front and the command dial settings will pop up and you're able to change the different functions of the front dial as well as the back dial. In fact, the front dial is able to set 3 different commands. You can use it to control your shutter. By pressing it down, you'll switch to the next command, which could be your aperture, and then press it again and it could be your exposure. And then by pressing it again, it will revert back to the first command, which is your shutter. So that makes shooting a lot more faster, more intuitive, and all you have to do is focus on your EVF or your screen. Now to focus, just use the back joystick and you're able to quickly focus and select the different zones. Now you can use the top dial to adjust the zone size and use the joystick to move around the zone. If you want to reset the position, just by pressing down on the joystick and you'll reset and center to the middle. And of course, if you want to reset the zone size, just press the back dial button and it will automatically reset. Speaking of the back dial, by pressing it down, you'll activate magnification, so you're able to zoom in and zoom out of subject, allow you to better manual focus if you needed to. This setting is only on if you adjust your camera to manual focus. So by switching the tab on the side to manual, now the zoom also works while you're looking through your electric viewfinder. If you have the EVF on top of your OVF, by pressing this button, it will actually zoom your EVF as well. Finally is this tiny little quick menu. I love this function. All you gotta do is press it down and you'll access your custom settings. You're able to switch between 7 custom settings of your camera. So what I have here are different recipes for my outdoor shooting. And of course, you can use the front and back dials to quickly access your menu as well as make adjustments in the submenu. And finally, most of these buttons are customizable. So if you don't like the default settings, all you gotta do is change what each function does. Now, you can do it through the menu, but the quickest way is just to hold the display button. Now here you can adjust all the function buttons as well as adjusting the touch screen. By the way, I suggest you turn off touchscreen functions because sometimes you accidentally touch your screen and it turns on or trigger a function. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful, and next episode I'm going to share with you my 3 most used recipes that I use all the time. So stay tuned for that and I'll see you in the next one.